Keep it simple, stupid. This is the only valid piece of advice I could give you after almost 15 years of software development. Simplicity, however, is one of the most difficult things to achieve. The good news for all of us is that there are a lot of libraries and frameworks we can leverage to build powerful yet simple apps these days. In the next 10 minutes or so, we'll build a full-stack web app using Astro JS as a meta framework, Solid JS to handle behavior, and PocketBase as our backend solution. You will see that a simple tech stack containing just these tools will be more than enough to build pretty much any type of application and any type of feature, ranging from simple SPAs to REST backends, authentication, file management, or real-time APIs. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. We'll start by setting up Astro, the meta framework which holds everything together. The limited time doesn't allow us to go into all the setup and project structure details, but if you are interested in a more in-depth look at all the tools we are using, you will find introductions for Astro, Solid, and PocketBase down in the description. Okay, so as I said, Astro will hold our whole app together. This one is an all-in-one web framework designed for speed. You could say that it is still fairly new in the web space, but due to its multi-page application architecture and its zero JavaScript policy enabled by the Islands architecture, Astro is one of the most performant tools out there. It is designed to handle content-heavy apps and uses a file system-based router to map incoming HTTP requests to Astro or content files. We are building a small chat app, so under the Pages directory, I defined an index file to map the request to the root path, a chat file for the actual chat application, and a start file to handle authentication. We are using Astro components inside these files. By default, everything will be rendered on the server, and only plain HTML will be served to the client. However, you can't really have a web app without some interactivity. Astro can be combined with various UI libraries, which will be added in the project and then served to the client only on demand. We will work with SolidJS for this purpose, but before doing this, let's switch gears and talk briefly about our backend solution, PocketBase. You can easily download the installer from the official website and then start a local server at a local port. Quick disclaimer, PocketBase is still under active development and has a long way to go until a stable version 1 release. However, the core functionality is in place and, in my experience, it offers a wide range of features even though it's rather small and portable. PocketBase is written in Go and can even be extended with your own functionality. If this is the first time you are hearing about it, make sure to check all the PocketBase's features in detail. Believe me, you will not be disappointed since, in my opinion, this little tool will quickly become a real alternative to backend-as-a-service platforms such as Firebase or Supabase. One of the many features PocketBase comes packed with is a users table we can rely on to handle authentication. On top of that, we'll create a chat collection where all user-generated messages will be stored. PocketBase uses SQLite as the underlying storage solution, and all collections will immediately get a list of REST endpoints we can call to read or mutate the data. On top of that, PocketBase offers a JavaScript SDK we can download using npm. Then, under a service folder, I'm going to create a PocketBase instance which will hold our database connection. Our app will require authentication, so I'm creating a user services TypeScript file with a bunch of useful methods. Login and registration are more than straightforward, especially since the users collection exposes useful methods for most of our operations. FYI, authentication-wise, PocketBase offers the usual token-based auth solutions, but also supports a wide range of third-party auth providers. Anyhow, once the user is authenticated on the backend, I am storing some useful information in the local storage as well. This might not be the most elegant or secure method, but since we are keeping things as simple as possible, this approach will do. Finally, I am adding some utility functions to easily fetch local storage data, and this sums up the user service. For the chat entity, we'll follow the same recipe. First, I'm defining TypeScript interfaces for the message and the chat entity. This will increase my quality of life in the long run. Then, we'll call the create, read, update, and delete collection methods to consume and mutate data. As you would expect from state-of-the-art storage solutions, Reads can either be performed by ID, or the results can be filtered by various criteria. Back to the Pages directory, you should recall that we defined the chat and start page, both loading some components only on the client. This is where the real fun begins, since we'll employ Solid JS's simplicity to build this functionality in no time. By the way, if you are finding this content useful, please consider helping me fight the YouTube algorithm by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. You can easily add Solid JS in an Astro project via this command. This will take care of all the setup for you, and now you can simply start writing Solid JS components. Hopefully, you should be familiar with Solid by now. If not, don't worry. Here is a 30 seconds overview of everything you need to know. Solid JS is a UI library built on top of a reactive pattern called signals. You can build Solid components by simply declaring functions that return this funny-looking HTML called JSX. Inside these functions, you can define signals, also known as state, and whenever those values change, DOM updates and other effects are automatically triggered. This is it. Class dismissed. You now know Solid. All jokes aside, in the start form.tsx file, I declared a bunch of component state variables, and, based on them, various rendering conditions are defined in the JSX. We can capture user input via change listeners, and trigger event handlers via onClick methods. Both the login and the register methods should be pretty self-explanatory, since they are simply calling the service methods we defined earlier. Of course, we are maintaining a loading and an error state, since the UI is fairly interactive these days, and everybody is used to seeing various visual cues while interacting with apps. Styling-wise, you have multiple options to choose from. Tailwind CSS is a fairly popular option these days, and most front-end projects support CSS modules at this point. However, since I'm fairly comfortable writing CSS rules, and I'm a big fan of SASS, I usually create an associated styling file for each of my Solid components, where I'm nesting all the styling under some custom class selectors. Okay, finally, let's work on the actual chat app, where we'll also get the chance to explore PocketBase's real-time capabilities. Again, we'll start by defining some internal state for the existing chats and the active messages. On the HTML template side, things are straightforward. First, in the sidebar, I'm iterating over the list of chats and simply displaying the names of previous chat participants. In the main part of the layout, I'm displaying the active messages, which are styled differently based on their sent or received status. Finally, in the footer, I'm capturing the user input via an input field and calling the send method when the enter key is pressed or the submit button is clicked. Next, I agree, the send function might look overwhelming, but feel free to pause the video and analyze it for a second. You'll see that there isn't anything too fancy in here either. If there is no conversation started, the user can add another user's handler to connect with him and start a discussion. Otherwise, we just persist the new send message in PocketBase. Since all messaging apps have real-time support, let's add it in our app as well. Whenever friends reply to our user, the message should instantly show up on the screen without the need to refresh the page. Of course, we can do this in just a couple of lines of code, since PocketBase collections have real-time support. We'll monitor the active chat ID, and whenever a new record comes in, we'll update the component state accordingly. As a best practice, whenever you are subscribing to any type of publisher, you should always make sure to unsubscribe to avoid memory leaks and other potential issues. Please let me know in the comments what is your opinion about this stack. I for one am very impressed, and I'm excited to finally get a stable version of PocketBase. Until next time, thank you for watching.